YouTube here because I think this is going to be a good conversation tonight, and I'd like to share.
I had a similar experience, Brooklyn. It hit me this morning and last night again. It's a dream. It isn't real. It's an illusion, and it's perfect. Let it flow the way it flows. Just get out of the way. It's going to teach you something. Learn it, and everything just got real relaxed.
Really,
Same,
really.
same thing with people. They are exactly the way they're supposed to be. Leave them alone, love them, and let it be. Let them be the way they are. Love them because they are the way. I mean, it's so simple. And then I realized, oh, that's acceptance. What high, what a high energy.
Yeah, isn't that just amazing? And we're all experiencing things like that. Mickey, please go ahead.
I just got to agree with everything everybody said so far. It's how do we know this is what's supposed to happen? Because that's what's happening. That's what I learned from Byron Katie.
Katie.
How do you know? Because that's what's happening. There's nothing that's going on that isn't supposed to be happening. And the other catchphrase I learned from Liz Cronkite was, we are all playing our part in the atonement perfectly. So, and I'm playing my part as well. And I have no idea what I'm supposed to do, but I do know that I need to get out of my own way. And that's all I know. And you know, everybody keeps saying, "What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oh my God, what are we going to do?"
About what?
You're going to do whatever is presented to you in the next moment,
Mm-hmm.
and the next moment, and the next moment. There's nothing else we can do. If somebody comes up with something they think I ought to be doing, please let me know, because I'm not trying to figure it out. So yeah, go ahead, Brooklyn or Lynn or whoever wants.
Um, yeah, Brooklyn, yeah, please go ahead.
Namaste, mighty companions. You know, uh, I've just realized my whole purpose is like John told me many years ago when I asked him, what should I do? He says, be the love you are. And I went to Whole Foods today and I was checking out my broccoli and all that stuff. And and the cashier, like she was like, and by the time I left her, she was smiling.
Oh,
I told her, have a beautiful day. So we bring, it goes, it comes, but it comes from, uh, see, I have a problem talking. You know what I mean?
Did you finish that poem? That's the question.
Oh my goodness.
I just have to tease you about it, honey.
Oh, gee, well, I went food shopping today, and Whole Foods. And
You don't have to explain. I'm just joking with you.
let me see, did I print? Oh, no, I didn't even print it. I didn't even print out the half of
Well,
poem. But
don't
thanks for reminding me.
worry. It just cracks me up. Uh, so yeah, so so yeah, what what I find is that there's a lot of people that are getting triggered about things that seem to be happening in the world or things that
Mm.
seem to be happening in our lives. I did want to report or let you guys know that my niece, my sister's granddaughter that had the lupus and was having the brainstorm firing, and she had a stroke and she passed away. Uh, just the most beautiful young girl you ever saw. And just it doesn't even seem right at all how that can happen. And my heart's really breaking for my nephew, who's it's his daughter, and the whole family. It's just so sad when you look at it. But the whole idea being that these are the these are the characters in my dream that I put here to remind me about my heart and my love and the being that I truly am. And, you know, I know she's dancing in another realm right now, and thank God, free from all the pain and suffering that she's been experiencing over these years. It just, when you see a young person like that go through those kinds of situations, it just seems so crazy. But we're here to play the role we're here for. And that's what little Eris was here. She was here to play the role that she came for, and she played it beautifully. And now, so many things, I mean, it impacts the whole universe. So I just, I wanted to let you know because I did ask for y'all to pray for her. Um, and, and I know she's out of her suffering now. So anyway, thank you. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, I got a call today from a very old friend of mine. We've known each other since the 1970s. And he called to talk about everything in his life, as he always does. And he said he was worried about what's going on in Washington, and we got a neo-Nazi in the White House, and he's got this thing, and he's going to destroy everything we built up over the last 4 years, and then it's going to take 4 more years after he's gone for us to build it up again. And I have a macular degeneration. I don't know, his eyes, the middle of his eye gets blurry or something, and he's not allowed to drive anymore. And then he started talking about where he lives. It's the motion picture home, and how everything is so great there. So while I'm listening to him, his ego pendulum swung one way, and then swung the other way, and then swung the other way, and then swung the other way. And I'm listening to him, and some of the stuff he said he says, these jokes aren't funny. And then he told me 3 or 4 jokes that were funny, but they weren't funny to me. They weren't funny to him because they were about what's going on in Washington and how this degenerate is trying to run the country. And all I did was sit back and let him have his way, and watch. And I thought, this is so typical of the stream. The pendulum swims one way, and then it goes back the other way, and then it goes back the other way, and it goes back. And fortunately, I was aware enough not to get involved. Let him have his say, and just kept loving him because we've been friends all of this long time. But I thought what he was doing was typical of how the dream works. If you react to it, then you get caught up in it, and you're going to start suffering too. And I didn't react to it at all. I just sat back from it. But it was a valuable lesson, as everything else is. There was one more valuable lesson to me, and it was right there. It was so obvious. And I was very grateful for that.
Yeah, wow. And that's beautiful, Ravi. And as you were speaking, I was like, that's inside my head all day. Those are the conversations I'm having with myself all day. And that's not a bad thing. It's the noticing. It's not the experiencing of it. It's the noticing that we're experiencing it. The recognition that that's I can see it happening. That absolutely means that I'm not involved in it. I'm watching it. I'm seeing it. I'm noticing it. I'm watching it. That means I'm not it. It's something else. Yeah, go ahead. Were you going to say something, Rafi?
No,
Yeah.
Brooklyn has her hand up.
Oh yeah, Brooklyn. Yeah, go ahead, honey.
Well, I just want to say I've been speaking to my brother every day. My niece's boyfriend, who I thank my niece for bringing him into the family, has been going with my brother, you know, to the hospital, to taking off work to take him to the doctor. And I've been talking with my brother, and I know, the body, the mind, it it leaves, the form leaves. And I know that. And I touch hearts with him past the form. but to see him suffering like that, it breaks my heart. And but we don't know what anything is for. But now I love him as much. I could love him as much as I want to. Now I'm telling, we never were mushy with each other. But now I can tell him, like the family's got your back, and you're loved. And I remind him, when we grew up together, everything he did, he taught me how to type. He I used to write poetry and knock at his door, and he used to listen to my poetry. And when I was anorexic, he gave me these vitamins, desiccated liver or something like that. It was, and so you know, that's the real thing. That love is the real thing, and I'm so grateful for it. And I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Hey, the world might blow up, nuclear. We might dream that the world, really. So we don't know. We don't know.
You're right about that, Brooklyn. And so yeah, that was the one thing that I had wanted to look at and talk about from Sunday morning on John Monday was the whole uh, uh, responsibility for sight. Because this is a time when we are looking at uh, the world and thinking that something is happening that is outside of us, that is likely to um, kill us or destroy us, or destroy the earth, or destroy our democracy, or think about all the things we're looking at. Of course, this is not new, all right? People have been thinking that we're in the end times for since it was mentioned that there's going to be an end of the world. Everybody, we've been thinking, which Jesus even said that in I think it's Jesus that said that in the Bible, said something about at the end of the world, which is now, which is happening right now. Everybody's been looking for it in some kind of future, and it's not. There is no future. We're just in a loop, the same thing over and over and over and over again, lifetime after lifetime, civilization after civilization. I could go on and on and on, but the fact is, the um, the nothing has changed, nothing can change, and nothing will change because it's all coming from the mind. And the mind, it's being the thing that the mind is projecting. Rico, please go ahead.
Thoughts. There ain't nothing out here but your thoughts.
Good evening, family and friends. Thank you for allowing me to be here with you. I send you love and light from my heart to yours. Glad to be here. I wanted to make amends and apologize to the group, which is to me the family, and Sharon and Elizabeth. I think we're here also. Yesterday's when I came in, which was a little bit late, I was in another group. The conversation kind of disappointed me, and I allowed it to fester to the point where I had to turn my camera off and go into a little contemplation. And it really wasn't about you. It was about me and how I felt about it. And I had to deal with that. I did get back to center and get back to a line. By the time I did, you guys were gone. And I had said, I have to make, I was still here. I heard every word everybody was saying, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. So I just wanted to make amends. And I believe Sharonda might have been here too, but I know you guys were here. And my reaction to that, because I'm really better than that. But in the moment, I was not. And I had to deal with that and said, well, I owe him more than that. Let me go into a little contemplation here and see, why am I offended by this conversation? And I got the answers. I went inside, and I'm much better now. I just wanted to make formal amends to each and every one of you because I love you and you're meaningful to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Rico. And I absolutely, I accept that. And I absolutely know that um, if anybody needs to be making amends, it would be me and those of us who were having the conversation to you and other people who didn't know what was being talked about. That was absolutely uncalled for. There's no reason that that we as a group should be talking about people and the things they say and the things they do in a way that makes it seem like they've done something wrong or that they're off track or whatever. I was not happy about that conversation yesterday,
I
and
got
it
to be
hurt my
rude to tell
heart.
you, I wasn't offended by the conversation. It was new to me in this, my spiritual family. And I guess I was in a little bit of a shock. And it didn't have anything to do with what you were talking about. And I didn't want to know what you were talking about. I don't care what you were talking about. I just didn't want to be a part of it. I apologize for that.
Well, and that's I think that's what I'm saying though, Rico, is that um, anybody with a heart should have been in shock. That was a shocking thing, and it's a shocking thing to me. I think about it. I'm ashamed of being involved in a situation where we are discussing, comparing between this and that, and accusing people maybe of not being wholehearted or whatever. That's not our place. Our place here is to be the love for each other and to be the support for each other. And if I talk about you in a group or another setting, then I can be sure you're probably going to talk about me because that's where my mind is at. So, I would love to just resolve to, you know, let us just be honest here. And honesty doesn't mean I tell you what I think. Honesty means I tell you what my heart knows is true. And if we're just listening to our heart and listening to the Holy Spirit, we wouldn't be having conversations that would shock anybody. The only shock that you would have is, oh my God, I'm shocked that you love me so much. I'm shocked that you
Oh, I
love
do. But
it.
I want you to rest assured it had nothing to do with you. It
I
had
understand
everything to
that,
do
honey.
with me and the way I responded to it was inappropriate. And that's what I'm apologizing for. I
Thank
love
you.
you guys. You know, it didn't have anything to do. It had some things to do that I had to resolve within me,
Yeah.
and you guys just happened to be there. So for that,
I love it. I love that though, Rico, because you know, I- this is how we work with each other. If there wasn't something that needed to be resolved, those things would not have been being said. You're right. It was a gift for all of us. So I appreciate that very much. And I'm grateful, grateful, grateful that we have this opportunity. So thank you. Thank you, Rico. And I'm accepting an apology for everybody because I'm sure you all will too. Brooklyn, please go ahead, honey.
Okay. I want to apologize because I started it. I started it. I it turned out I had a big trigger and I didn't get over it in time. And I apologize for that. But being how we give everything to Holy Spirit, we used it for the best way. It taught us things. And like Dove said, to be grateful for your triggers. Of course, I know it, yeah, triggers can be contagious. You know that? Yeah, yeah. So I apologize.
no, I always say, Brooklyn, love is never having to say I'm sorry. I really mean that because you guys were healing. It was my stuff that got in the way. You guys were fine.
Well, and it sounds like you got some healing from it as well. And so I mean, that's when I'm healed, I'm not healed alone. We,
Feelings contagious.
yeah, it's contagious. So I'm grateful for that. Very, very grateful for that. And I see Dove has posted in the chat from Responsibility for Sight. I'm responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience, and I decide upon the goal I would achieve. And everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I have asked. Everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and I receive as I have asked. That's the answer to all of this. You know, Rafi, please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a little redundant, but Rico, look at the valuable lesson you learned and look at the growth you experienced. So how is that bad? Not so bad, huh? Not so bad. Way to go, brother. You saw it and you did it. You went at it the right way. You didn't go home and put your tail between your legs and beautiful, beautiful. Oh, so much love for you.
Me too. I love this. Love, 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 love.
I love the honesty. We could turn ourselves inside out with each other. Well, we do, but we can let our ego slip with each other and not be thrown out. Yeah,
Yeah.
and thank you, Rico, for saying that.
Yeah, I know I've had a lot of contemplation on this whole situation. And because I do record these things and then I go back and listen to them later as well, because, I appreciate what everyone has to say. And, I realize that a big part of um, the, uh, the confusion comes along when and I can only say for I because I know I do it, but I'm pretty sure everybody else does too, assign a motive to another person and think that they're doing this because, and I could, and it's not because they want to hurt me or they want to, but they're doing it because they want to be right. They're doing it because they want to feel safe. They're doing it because they want to feel appreciated. They're doing it because they want. There's I could come up with a million reasons why a person would do or say a thing that a person does or says. And I could be wrong a million times on that because it could be a completely different reason that I never even thought of. So I think that's what happens is that, maybe, we listen to somebody speaking and we think, oh, he's talking about me and the thing that we said the other day and the argument that we had. Or, he's always showing me or telling me that I don't understand the course. And that's, he's just trying to correct me now, or whatever kind of motivation that we assign. And I say, see, it could be a she. I could, she's just upset because this happened to her before in another group, or she's angry because this is what her first husband did to her, or I mean, we can think of all reasons why a person is doing what they're doing, but we don't know. And the only real reason for anything that happens is to love and be loved. That's the only real reason for anything is to love and be loved. So if the motivation I assign to them instead of being, they're just trying to be in control here, uh, they just want to be loved. They want to love and be loved. I can't fault them for that. And I can't punish them for that. I can't argue with them about that. If I just looked at everyone's motive and said, they are here for the love, and that's the only reason that they're doing anything that they're doing, then I'm not going to be upset about what they say or do. I'm going to be grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for saying and doing this because I know it came from your heart and it's your love. Yeah, use everything for love. So I don't know if anybody else had anything that they want. I mean, what is it that we're doing here? Are we here, to make each other feel good about ourselves? Or are we here to really examine our hearts and determine, what this world is. If I'm responsible for the world I see, what is it that I want to see? Rafi, please go ahead.
There's one reason and one purpose only, and that's to wake up from the dream. Self-realization, imperturbability, freedom, whatever name you give it, that's the only purpose. To know that I'm not this body, I'm not thoughts, I'm not feelings, I'm not ego concepts. I have always been what I am, is now, and will forever be. And everything else is showing me how to get there. And every bit of growth that we have is a step in the right direction. How many times have we heard Brooklyn say we're walking each other home? Come on. And that's what we're doing. And if somebody does something, like me, for instance, if I do something that is out of line, unloving, or something, it usually comes from habit energy. And from a long time ago, and I just didn't catch it in time. Well, I'm working really hard to catch it now, to make sure that I just stay aware of it and say, you ain't going to do that anymore, because that's just giving into that ego thing, and you're causing yourself to suffer, and anybody out there that it reflects off is going to suffer. What's the point of that? There ain't no point of that. Wake the hell up. That's the job. Let the dream teach you what it's got to do. And it's like Lester said, it's perfect. It isn't real, but it's perfect. Then let it do what it's going to do. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Rafi. Yeah, I mean that's it. We're not here to fix it or analyze it or change it or do anything with it. Just look at it and know that it's not has nothing to do with me.
And you can't get anything out of it that is satisfactory. You cannot get anything out of this dream that's going to give you satisfaction, because it's just your projected thoughts. And thoughts are not things. Thoughts are, okay, thoughts are images. Images can't pay off.
Yeah, and in fact, they're not meant to satisfy us. They're not meant to make us happy. There's nothing in this world that's meant to make me happy. You think of anything you want, anything you long for. Oh, wouldn't it be just so wonderful to take a vacation to Hawaii? Then you go to Hawaii and there's a hurricane, or, wouldn't it be wonderful to, build a new house, and you build a new house, and then, things go wrong with it. You have to pay for it. Maybe you don't. There's nothing is everything is going to come with a price tag. It doesn't matter what it is. Nothing comes here in this world to make us happy and give us what we want without at the same time uh, showing us why it is that we shouldn't want it. Why it is that we don't want it. Because when you look at it, you don't want it. Really, you don't want it. Once you see, how much trouble it is, what you want is the love that it represents. And that's what the only thing that has any value. The only thing that has any meaning is the love that it represents. So, forget the new car, just remember the love. Forget the vacation, just remember the love. That's all. And yeah, there's Ozzy. Hi, sweetheart. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Brooklyn, please go ahead.
Hi, Artsy. I, you know, so, um, yeah, we're here to be the love we are, no matter what. I read something about I was reading a book on the subway, The Infinite Way, and he was saying about how we're all branches. I always say we're all sunbeams, we're all waves. He said we're all branches, and branches can't survive without, the Christ mind. Well, he didn't say that. He says branches can't, survive without the tree. And then the tree is nourished, you know. But it all works together because we're all part of each other. Everything God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. And we work, we like a healthy digestive system, healthy circulation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we are interconnected in the most intimate way. That's one of the major tenets of Buddhism is this interconnectedness, this we depend upon each other. And it's not just people and people. It's like, I depend on this chair to keep my butt from sitting on the ground. That's that and how did I get this chair? This chair doesn't just materialize out of thin air. This chair came from, probably somebody in China. There's some miners that mined up some metal, and then there's some people that worked at a refinery and a foundry to make that metal turn into, make that ore dirt turn into actual metal that could be folded, molded, made into a frame. Plastic, comes up from oil from the dinosaurs that lived under that lived here millions and millions of years ago, and now all that is oil under the ground, and we bring it up and we turn it into gas, and we turn it into plastic, and we turn it into all kinds of things. And here I'm sitting on a chair that's made out of extinct dinosaurs and ore from the earth. And and how did it all get here? People took it and fixed it and made it, and over thousands of years figured out how to do it. And I owe this chair to, some, person, millions of years ago that figured out how to make iron or make metal out of ore. That just the chair. That's one thing. And everything it is has that same history and that same interconnectedness. And we're all here a part of it. And if you think you're not a part of it, then you're fooling yourself. But if you understand that you are a part of it, then what is your purpose here in this grand scheme of all of it? And you know, it, to awaken to the fact that I made it all up and it's not really real. That's my purpose in all of it. All of it, the dinosaurs and the miners and the ore from the earth and all that. The whole purpose of it was to tell me, Lynn, hey, wake up. You're dreaming. That's it. Wake up. You're dreaming. Anyway, hey, Karen. Hi, sweetheart. And I was going to also mention when Brooklyn said about walking us home, how many times in A Course in Miracles Jesus talks about he's walking with us. It's phenomenal. Karen, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this actually, I know everybody loves this quote, and I know especially Brooklyn loves this quote. Um, all your past except its beauty is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing. That's in chapter 5, section 4. So that's it. That's everything. How can you who are so wholly suffer? All your past except its beauty is gone, and nothing is left but a blessing. I saved all your kindness and every loving thought you ever had. I have purified them of the errors that hid their light and kept them for you in their own perfect radiance. And it goes on, and it's just so beautiful. And when you were talking about the love, that's all that's real. But what I really wanted to get to was this section is such a good section, Lynn. The responsibility for sight. And Dove posted paragraph 2. I'm sorry. He posted, paragraph 2, I think it is, or it's the rest of right after the prayer. I am responsible for what I see. And then the next paragraph is very powerful as well. He says, it is impossible the Son of God be merely driven by events outside of him. It is impossible that happenings that come to him were not his choice. His power of decision is the determiner of every situation in which he seems to find himself by chance or accident. No accident nor chance is possible within the universe as God created it, outside of which is nothing. Suffer and you decided sin was your goal. Be happy and you gave the power of decision to him who must decide for God for you. This is the little gift you offer to the Holy Spirit, and even this he gives to you to give yourself. For by this gift is given you the power to release your Savior, that he may give salvation unto you. And the reason this is so powerful to me is because it keeps reminding us, this whole section reminds us that the power of decision is the determiner of every situation. So, I'm either choosing the ego thought system or I'm either choosing love or fear. And I am going to get whatever I choose. So it's really helpful to remember that, because it's not the outside condition. It's not what's going on in the world. And I know that I need to remind myself of that. It's a decision that I'm making. And this whole section so beautifully reminds us of that, the power of decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Karen. Yeah, I'm putting that up. I was going to do that a little earlier. I see Brooklyn has her hand up, and let's see. You still have your hand up, or let's see. Okay, Brooklyn has her hand up. Go ahead, Brooklyn.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think I forgot what I would. Thank you, Karen. That is definitely, like mind-blowing. That just the love is saved for us. When I was in AA, one of the promises were, you will not regret the past nor wish to close the door on it. And I went, when I first heard it, yeah, sure, right. And that worked. And and I have the love that Jesus saved for me, which I'm very grateful for. And yeah, and I'm you know so grateful for my mighty companions. Thank you.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Yeah, we're all part of the big woven uh the carpet that rolls up. That's all our parts in it. So thank you, Karen, for uh reading this from Responsibility for Sight, because what I'm seeing is, if I'm seeing something outside of myself that I'm upset about, he's saying, well, there's no accident. Nothing is happening that hasn't been already part of the plan. This has been here this whole time. There's nothing that can harm you in any part of it. And then acts, I love this. This is, I told you guys that a long time ago when I was younger, I was another spiritual following a spiritual path, and was really really absolutely convinced that they were absolutely the correct one. You know how you get like that, and until they came up with this idea that things could happen by accident, and that God didn't know about, and these accidents, that there was things that happened that were not part of the plan. And I always knew that there is a plan, and it's always been perfect. So, recognizing that, it's my interpretation of what seems to be happening that is putting me in a state where I may be upset or offended or afraid or whatever. But the interpretation is just of something that has no meaning at all. The only meaning of it is that it is God's love being presented to us in this form that we're experiencing it in. And so, to be afraid, to be worried, to think that something outside of me is going to cause a problem. Now, if I look and I see, this unhappy thing happened in, the quote Oval Office, I can look at that and be upset about it. But then I can look right here and say, well, it didn't happen by accident. Absolutely, it was part of the universal plan. So if I'm going to be unhappy about it, then I'm saying no to my own best interest. It's not for me to look and judge what they're doing. It's for me to look at my own mind and my own thinking and recognize that I'm the one who made the interpretation. I'm the one who said this is right, wrong, good, bad, whatever. But in itself, it is a neutral situation. Nothing in this world has any real meaning except the power that I give to it through my own thinking. Brooklyn, please go ahead. You're muted, honey.
When I was in AA, they told me, hang on, you're in for a ride. Well, that's how I feel now. Like we're everything is accelerating, everything. And yeah. Oh, I want to tell you about the dream I had. I was cleaning, I was sweeping, I was vacuuming, and it was my old apartment. And then I realized, wait, I don't live here anymore. I thought that was a good metaphor.
I love it. What am I cleaning up this place for? I don't even live here.
I don't live here anymore.
I love it. That's a beautiful metaphor, my dear. I love it. Dove has his hand up. Please go ahead, Dove, and then Rafi afterwards.
Yeah. There's a place in the Course that says ego analyzes and spirit accepts. I was on the phone with my daughter Laura, who was asked me to take a look at lesson number 5. I'm never upset for the reason I think. And I explained to her, if you can put, I said, come up with an example. She said, well, I'm upset at my sister. I said, okay. So I said, actually, you're not upset at your sister, but if you can put your finger on it, you can be absolutely sure that that is not what's going on. And she says, well, what is going on? I said, you're listening to a voice that's telling you to be upset and angry and mad and all those things. And you think it's you, but it's not even you. After the call was over, it actually came to me. The way that you activate the ego is you think about it. It says ego analyzes. If I start thinking, well, what happened to the Oval Office? Maybe it shouldn't have happened. Spirit accepts. The moment you accept it, it's over. Literally, you are right back in the now. In the now, you can be peaceful and you cannot be touched. But when you think about it, ego takes over.
Absolutely. That's it exactly, Dove. Yeah. So, and what could you not accept? I mean, that's the same thing we just read here in this responsibility for sight. What could you not accept if you knew that everything was part of the plan? So I love that. And you don't have to analyze it. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to accept it. It's like, you go to the doctor and the doctor says, oh, you have high blood pressure. Let me give you this pill. You go get the pill, you go home, you take the pill. You just accept it. Okay, this pill's for my high blood pressure. You don't sit and say, well, I wonder how this pill is going into my body and where is it going to? Is it going to my brain and saying something there? Or is it going to my kidneys and saying, how is this pill working? Oh, you don't wonder about that. You just say, I'm taking the pill. And it works or it doesn't work. But you don't have to analyze it. You're not a chemist or, a pharmacist or whatever. Just take it, accept it. It'll help you. Rafi, please go ahead.
Yes, in regard to what Brooklyn said in her dream, I had a dream last night and I was releasing in the dream. And I was letting go of wanting safety and security and control. And it was the dream. And I woke up. And then it hit me. Isn't that what I'm doing in this dream? Aren't I releasing in this? So what's the difference? There's no difference. Well, my mind started analyzing it right away. And I caught it. and used a phrase that we use in releasing all the time. Could I let go of being so smart and allow it to be other than I think it is? Yes. And all of a sudden that stopped. And I was at peace again. And nothing came up for it. Then I just said, well, I'm up. I'm going to surrender this whole day over to my infinite beingness and know that it'll be perfect. A day of great wealth, health, happiness, well being, of all loving, and waking up to the truth of what I really am, which is the only purpose that I have. So it was just fascinating that the dream was the same as the dream. Thank you.
I love that. And yeah, when you start practicing forgiveness in your dreams, when you start doing the work in your dreams, it's honestly, you do recognize it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I love that, Rafi, and good on you because I think the course says something like that when you start recognizing that what you're doing it's the same between sleeping and waking dreams. You recognize that you're the dreamer, you're just dreaming. Yeah, Karen, please go ahead.
Yeah, that's exactly what it says, Lynn. Um, I love what Dove just shared about the ego analyzes and the Holy Spirit accepts, because with acceptance comes trust. And, I have to be honest, like sometimes it's not easy, with what's going on in the world, the seeming world, and now with all that Trump did with these tariffs, and now Trudeau in Canada is now hitting us with tariffs. Stock market went down, prices are going up, people are losing jobs. I mean, I can't deny how I feel about that. I'm allowing it to upset me. And I have to remember to bring that upset back to where the upset really is and the decision I'm making to be upset, you know? And that's what I'm working on right now, because it is upsetting to me when I look at the problem as a problem, when I forget that the course says, look at the problem as it is, not the way you set it up. And the way I'm setting it, I'm setting it up as my interpretation of, oh, now it's going to be more expensive at the grocery store. Now gas is going to go up. Now that on and on and on. And like, it's not hard enough as it is. And now it's going to be hard. All that negativity will just start coming through. And I can just step back and say, you know what, there you go. There goes the ego. The ego is going to take you right down that rabbit hole if you continue to believe you're doing this to yourself. So it's this self-talk. It's this self-talk I do with myself. And then I give it over to the Holy Spirit. But it's about trust, because I don't know, as Lynn said, what anything is for. This could be the best thing that could happen right now, because we don't know what it's going to lead to. This might lead to something bigger and better than we could even imagine. I don't know. We don't know what it's for. So it's trusting the process, just like trusting the process of forgiveness, trusting this process, what's happening right now. I don't know what's going to happen. And I got to just trust that all things work together for good, except in the ego's judgments. Thank you.
Yep, 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 yep. Absolutely. And thank you for that, Karen. I think, for me, the bottom line then, as we're coming, kind of up toward the top of our time here, is what is my decision about how I want to see these things that are happening. So, if I'm going to get upset when I see something happening in the government, then I've already decided that's really what I want to see. I want to see people doing the bad thing. I want to see something going wrong. I want to see someone else being wrong and me being right. I want to see, I want to see the find out end of the F around. I'm anxious to, turn on the news and see what disaster has happened now. These are, I'm not saying that I personally, that's how I am, but it is, if I decide to turn on the news and watch the news for a while, I've already decided I want to judge. I want to be in a position where I can look at another person and think that they're wrong and I'm right. And I think that's the main reason that people, do that is so they can feel vindicated in their hatred. And so when I say people, I say me. The reason I do it is because I want to feel vindicated in my hatred. I want to feel like, yeah, those bastards, look what they're doing. And, I was right all along, and now a disaster is happening. And I'm happy to see a disaster because, that means that, I was right. This is how silly we are. This is how silly the ego is. And so, what is my decision then? Am I going to look and judge and be angry and afraid? Or am I going to look and say, oh, I put them there so that I could have this experience of being righteous and seeing wrongness. I put them there for that. And if I use them for that, then I'm misusing my brothers because that's not what they're here for. That's not what they're here for. So, this, getting involved and getting upset and getting afraid and wondering and hoping and fearing and praying for this and that and the other thing, all that is doing is just keeping the cycle of upset and agitation going in the world. And what happens to the world when I decide to be still? What happens to that scenario when I decide that it's love? What happens in those situations when I say all I want to see is the love that's here? All I want to see is that God is here. And it was really easy for me to be watching Mr. Zelensky, and my heart could feel him. I could feel the Christ in him. And I was sitting there looking and watching and feeling just feeling myself giving him so much love pouring out of me for that one person. And then I looked to the people on his left, my right, and it stopped me cold. I was like, oh no, you love, stay over here because you don't belong over there with these two. Yeah. How could I have love for one and not the others? How could I be overwhelmed with joy looking at one and filled with hatred looking at the others? That's how insane this whole ecosystem is. And my quest or my goal, my question, my hope, I've been asking the Holy Spirit every night, help me, while I'm sleeping, help me anytime to be able to see these people with love and to love these people truly, to love these people, to feel that flood of joy come out of me when I look at their face. What a wonderful world it would be if I could do that. And why wouldn't I want to do that? And there's part of me right now saying, no, because they're bad. No, they're bad, Lynn. You can't see them with love because they're bad. Help me. I don't want to see that anymore. I do not want to see that way anymore. I don't want to interpret the world that way anymore. Brooklyn, please go ahead. I'm rambling.
I love when you ramble. Yeah, everything is accelerating. Not just this, not just, one part, but another part. We're in the yin yang. It's, yeah, hang on to our seats.
Yep, yep, yep. And I see us. We're in the yin yang. We're riding along that curvy road, looking over the edge, going, oh, there's bad over there, and oh, yay, there's lots of good stuff over here. But still, we're in the middle. No matter where you are, you're in the middle.
Ram Dass used to say there's no place to stand.
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, there's two ways to ride a roller coaster. You'll notice that some people hold on to the handlebars and get white knuckles from holding on, and others go, "Yee!"
Yep. And I want to be the one going wee. Uh, let's see. Anybody else have anything they want to share for now? Or I'm loving this being with you guys. Karen, yeah, please go ahead and.
Yeah, there's another section in the course that I think is really helpful. It's called the real alternative. It's in chapter 31, section 4. And it really says a lot of the same things that, responsibility for sight says. And it really reminds us that it's the first sentence in the first paragraph. There is a tendency to think the world can offer consolation and escape from problems, that its purpose is to keep. So what he's saying here is that the purpose of the world is to keep the separation going by seeing the problem outside. That's the whole purpose of this world, is to keep us thinking that the problem is in the world, to keep us mindless. And this section really, and he talks about, the only hope that we have is to go back to the mind. And that's the only way that we can actually get out of this world, is to go to the mind and make another decision. And I know we know this, but I mean, it's sometimes something that we need to be reminded of. I need to be reminded of, because the ego is vicious and suspicious. And being reminded that, I have a choice. I have a choice in every single moment. And I am not a victim of the world I see. This is what this whole course is telling us, really, in every section, in different ways, in different titles, in different words. That the secret of salvation is, I'm doing this to myself. So I love to be reminded, especially in these times right now. Thanks.
Thank you, Karen. I love that too, and that all of, the course is so filled with so much good advice for how to exist in this world, and how to see love wherever. And I appreciate very much that we have a real alternative. We have a real alternative. All right, and
Amen.
all right, you guys, I love you all so very much. Thank you for your open honesty, joyful sharing. Thank you for being here and keeping me on my toes. So,
Mm. And thank you for reminding me.
yeah, that's what we're here for. I love you all. Good night.
Love us so much. Big hugs.
Bye.